Jenny-Jaymes and our sidekick, Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you soon. Good morning, everybody. It is March 20th, and Two Queers Talk, Two Queers in a Truck with Christian and Jenny, and we're rocking it out and being too cool for school. And we've got a loaded show. Like, we're going to jump right into it because I got some great topics. Because honestly, the jokes in this era of the world write themselves. They're literally. It's just like a $20 bill on the ground. You got to pick it up. And first of all, Ohio Chick-fil-A business owner Stacy Austin traveled from Ohio to Rowan County, North Carolina, which is just up the road. Actually, literally, it's one of our near neighbors. And with the intentions of meeting with, and from what I understand, met with a 15-year-old child.
What?
Yeah, an intimate rendezvous, because, they're anti-grimmer. And just happened. It happened here in March. Literally happened. It was on a local TV station's internet page. And is, white conservative male, and a grown man. He's not like young at all. Like he's I don't know his age. I didn't get his age. But I'm going to conservatively say he's Gen X, like pretty easily, like either really, really late 40s, but he really looks like early to mid 50s. He definitely loves fried food. And came down here 400 miles to get with a 15-year-old child. And authorities obviously are not going to release any information about the child. Sure. For safety purposes and the fact that they're a minor and now a victim of this creep. And just, it's one of those dick moves that you go, I can understand some dick moves. Some of them are even kind of funny. This ain't it. This is the math, and I'm going, you could probably find an 18, 19-year-old legal adult, by at least legal terms, in Ohio, sex worker that can role play with you and do, put on the schoolgirl uniform, whatever or schoolboy. Like, I don't even know the gender of this victim, but could easily satisfy all the kinks that this guy needs. Obviously, clearly, that risked everything, and he's in jail now. He's in the pokey. Even Chick-fil-A said, we do not condone his behavior, and he will be dealt with accordingly. And this is Chick-fil-A, because they're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior with an owner operator.
Jenny, are you surprised?
Oh no, it happens all the time.
Exactly, it happens every day.
The white male conservative Christian ecosystem. Again, I follow people on Twitter that post every day about a guy like this. And typically are very similar in many ways, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a cop, whether it's a coach, or in this case, a business owner. but literally more or less in that same age range, the same, authority position, the same ability to just drop in a car and come 400 miles thinking there's no consequence for trying to hook up with a 15-year-old child. Again, child.
Mm-hmm.
Not an adult, not even close. 3 years makes a huge difference in those years. In no way, shape, or form is appropriate or should ever be condoned in our society. And again, super, super gross from the, the QAnon, other side of the ledger that's always calling everybody else on the other side groomers just because of their existence.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, not a drag queen, not a trans person, not a gay man, not a person of color, but top 1A white privileged male with money that just felt like he was above it all, just like a lot of other people in his ecosystem. And it's not only sad, but the fact that now there's a traumatized 15-year-old in North Carolina because this guy's a dickbag. I mean, he's one thing for him though. Whatever attention he needed, he's going to get it in prison. He's when the lights go out, they're going to play house, and he's going to be the 15-year-old.
Exactly.
And prison justice sometimes is the most raw and real justice. I'd asked Jeffrey Dahmer, but they took care of him in prison too. And this kind of guy will get 0 quarter, and they will pair him up in a cell with somebody that they know will teach him all the life lessons this man really needed to know. And this guy, they haven't had a trial, obviously. This literally has happened in the last week or so. But when he gets convicted, which it's an open and shut case, he's going to go to the worst part of prison and the worst part of a living hell. And it's like, prisons were built for him. And I'm not a big fan of mass incarceration, but if you're going to send somebody, you send a dickbag like this.
Exactly.
Bon voyage, dirtbag. And speaking of dirtbags, Andrew Tate's back in the news. He got picked up by Romanian police again because an associate of his, Aiden Ross, blabbed that Tate was thinking about fleeing Romania to avoid consequences with the other stuff, the sex trafficking and all that. And so they just picked him up and put him in the hoose cow and said, no, you don't. And he's back behind bars. And of course, he's sad about it. And I'm like, well, my dude, you shouldn't have blabbed it. If you're going to do it, if you're going to run and go on the lam with your resources, you just don't talk about it. You just do it. I mean, that's first of all, it's like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club. You don't talk about running. You just run. You either do it or you don't. But of course, he got mug shots again and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm here for it. And somewhere Greta Gerwig is she's. I haven't seen any comments from her, but she's giggling because last time it was a pizza that got him, and this time it's his own mouth, and he snitched on himself.
Yeah,
what an idiot! But he'll learn. But he'll probably have to learn that in prison.
He doesn't have the ability. He's like Trump. He doesn't have the ability to shut up.
Oh yeah, no, he's a full blown idiot.
Yeah.
And no awareness of who he is, or again, somebody that in some ways is very accomplished and well-known MMA fighter, wealthy, has all the trappings of life, but also personally is a dickbag, and the absolute refuge of society that you just look at and go, God, I guess prison's going to be your destiny because you just refuse to show any remorse, have any moment of contriteness, and is just going to do it the hard way. And we've seen this with the former guy. And the moment he gets arrested and booked and arraigned, he's just as bad as he was before, not even like he doesn't need to confess or say anything about the circumstances of his arrest, but just a little humility would go a long way in a lot of people's eyes, just like when he was president and his cabinet was quitting left and right, and he had so many massive failures for 4 years. I just wouldn't play golf, didn't give two shits about anybody, had backyard parties at the White House, is how he caught COVID, and was not humbled at all. Made sure that he got out of the hospital early and breathed the COVID all over his Secret Service detail in the limo on the way back to the White House. Like, dude, your family lives in the White House with you. I mean, that's what was lost in that whole thing. This dude doesn't even care about his own family.
Yeah.
Just was a total dick. And the people that protect him. And just, and, he has a lot of comorbidities. That little equator of a wasteland that he has was a huge comorbidity with full-blown COVID. And he caught it before the vax. And he got he got pretty scary COVID. He was sick. And, I guess he had to get back to the White House so Dr. Johnson could get him enough pills and some narcotics, clearly, based on evidence that's come out this year about the pill logs, pop them if you got them. And, but yeah, Andrew Tate, zero sympathy for this dude. This dude has all the tools to straighten up and literally doubles and triples down on his raw bone stupidity. You just got to go.
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah, he is on the road to karma and justice, whether he wants to or not. And just like the alleged pedophile that traveled from Ohio to North Carolina to traumatize a young person, a child. Again, or a child. 15-year-old's a child.
Yeah.
And shouldn't be with a Gen X middle-aged man. And somebody that has a pretty accomplished life and is a owner-operator of a Chick-fil-A in Ohio. Like, it's not that it would be good no matter what profession he was, but I mean, you kind of wonder what brain fart he had to do this in a modern electronic age. There's trails. There's electronic trails. Like, it's not impossible to figure this out compared to our day where there was no Google machine or internet. So many parental tools to protect our kids. Dum-Dum's getting what he deserves. But we'll be back with some more Two Queers in a Truck right after this message.
Hey guys, I've got a special product out, and we've got a store under the name blueapplytech.com, and you can go on our Etsy store, you can go on our social media, and you can check out our merchandise. We have some amazing snowflake Trump mugshot ornaments. We have mugs, we have pillow covers, we have a lot of cute stuff for the holiday season that you can buy. And it's great fun, and it goes to a good cause. It goes to my company, and it's helping us out getting started. And also, who doesn't want a historic snowflake Trump ornament?
Exactly.
This year.
That's funny. What's the name of it again?
And the name of the company is Blue, like the color blue, applied APPLIED Tech. Like technology.
Blue Applied Tech. Ah, cool.
And so you can look us up. We have a website, but our store is on Etsy. And a lot of people use Etsy for different types of great gifts. They are assembled in the United States, so it creates American jobs. And most of all, it's a lot of fun, and they're not expensive.
Cool.
So,
Blue Applied Tech. Got it.
Correct. Come seek us out and buy some gifts.
Cool.
Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye, boo. Happy Pride.
And maybe it's the theme of the day. So we filmed Coffee, our sister show, before this, because we are, in full disclosure, we're taping it reverse because we're taping at night and not in the morning like we normally do on Wednesdays. And so you know, I know what's on the Coffee show instead of the other way around. And the theme of that was you know, implicit bias and so many conversations about colorism and hurt communities that hurt their own community. And you got to wonder, I wonder why and who hurt you. But speaking of weirdos, Alabama's zombie kitchen senator, and I'm not going to even use her name. She doesn't even deserve her name to be used, but the wacko that they just roasted on Saturday Night Live. The impression of her is comedy classic gold. It is just, I watched it, and let me tell you, spot on impersonation. Kudos to Saturday Night Live. They were on it like a fat kid on a cupcake, and they literally just, whatever dignity she had after the cosmic meltdown of what she did after the State of the Union from Biden, whatever she had left, Saturday Night Live, they took it. They stole. Yeah. They stole what her last shreds of dignity and dumped them in the Gulf of Mexico. But the main story of the sex trafficked victim did not happen in the United States. Didn't happen during Biden. Didn't happen during Trump. Didn't happen during Obama. It happened during George W. Bush. And it happened in another country in 2004. And when she immigrated to Mexico City in 2008, she was already a survivor. She was already somebody that came out of that and escaped that horrific fate. And I got interviewed on CNN with an interpreter and told her story, and even gave an appeal to the senator, if you want to have a conversation about this. It is a subject. She said the senator is correct that this should be talked about, but the context and the journey that she had happened 20 years ago, and that the truth has to be told. And phenomenal, beautiful, strong woman. Kudos to her for not only openly setting the record straight. Beautiful Latina, just, you know, heart of gold. You can just tell. And she said it in a very compassionate, very non-angry, like just, you know, just her restraint and her calm in this interview. I'm not sure many of us could have given a response as calm as she was on this absolute lie. And for political purposes, to take somebody's tragedy and survivor story and completely twist it for political means, to slander and defame a president, not only should take that zombie senator out of the Senate, she should resign. She should do the right thing, and she should resign. And I'm going to say it here. I haven't heard it said by anybody else. she should step away from the Senate. She should leave and quit the Senate immediately. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. I believe when you commit that big of a fraud and you use something that woman to woman is a lot of women's biggest fear is being sex trafficked, and there's so much talk about it from the Q nuts and the rest of the world. Why would you, in this day of the Google machine, why in the fuck would you lie about it, knowing, using the woman's name, using a patented lie that she knew was a patented lie? There was not an ounce of fucking truth to it. To use this woman's powerful survivor story for evil, to score political points and whip up more fear porn. And it's like Republicans need any more. The Republican low information voter needs an ounce more fear porn given to them. Like they've already got.
That's like their oxygen.
Yeah. Oh, it's their Texan fuel, like Bobby Boucher and the Water Boy. It's like, you know, and you know when they're not shooting beer cans because they're so thin skinned or doing else. Like I'm going. But the difference is between a jackass like Kid Rock and the kitchen zombie senator from Alabama as a woman, as a upper management of our federal government that is elected to be first and foremost a public servant and a representative of the great state of Alabama. To have such an obvious, there wasn't even an accident or a faux pas. She didn't miss it by years. She missed it by 20 years.
Yeah.
With no American involvement whatsoever. Like, it's honestly grounds for proceedings and censure and removal. And I know she's a Republican, so she won't do the right thing, but she absolutely should. And calls for her to resign absolutely are necessary if the Senate wants to have integrity. On a funnier note, Robert De Niro was on Kimmel this week that we recorded the show, and because Trump also commented about De Niro. And De Niro, of course, Robert De Niro is not only a hard yellow dog Democrat and is a lifelong progressive and absolutely hates Trump in every way, and I'm here for it. You know, that New York swagger, that whole, you know, persona that he has in real life, and has zero mercy for somebody like Trump, that both grew up and are from the same place. They're literally from the same place. Absolutely rips him and made a really, really good point. He brings up a really good point on how he said, at the end of the day, let's put all the personal feelings aside of how much I hate this man. How do they explain this to their kids and grandkids? How do they look their families in the eye and say with any, because we all have conversations about our careers with our people in our personal life. How do you go home at night or go to family gatherings or people that are loved ones in your life? How do you do what they do and then go home? And it's basically what Robert De Niro said. He said, how do you square that? Because Robert De Niro has kids and grandkids. He's in his 80s, has a young baby right now. But it's an excellent point that you don't really hear brought up. At the end of the day, the Ted Cruz's, the Donald Trumps, it's well documented they have families. How do you just hang out with them and go, yeah, you can ignore all the public dickbaggery. I'm still Papa. I'm still Grandpa. And like, how do you just shame yourself? I just look your family in the eye. Like, it takes a special kind of dirtbag to operate that way. People make mistakes. 100%. I make mistakes. Christian makes mistakes. The difference is the humility, the atonement, and the humbleness that it takes to apologize and learn and grow seems to be completely missing from the right side of the ledger. That we've seen with people on the progressive left side of the ledger, that many of us have had a fall from grace in some way or some deal. But what sets us apart, and here's the primary difference between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats always go and do better. Consistently. They did the right thing by removing Cuomo because of the proven allegations against him, and replaced him with a woman governor that's just been a great governor. To take an icon out of a job and not worry about party, to do the public and ethical thing, to see a Biden come out of retirement, but didn't have to. Absolutely. Would have loved to have seen him done that in 2016. But we'll take 2020. That literally had no legacy to prove. Solid senator, solid vice president under Obama. Was always served with a tremendous amount of, and as he's gotten older, you saw in the State of the Union deal, what a fucking leader. What a fucking contrast from the Mango Mussolini shitbag, sleazy golf resort owner. Just the choice, is there even a choice between this rematch? Like, is there any, like, put the Democrats and the Republicans aside for a minute. All the independents that listen to this show, how would you ever choose the former guy, Colt 45, over 46 and Biden and Kamala? Like, just look at the contrast. It's a no-brainer in the accomplishment aisle. It's a no-brainer in the humanity. But you still saw talk about how he served under Obama as the first black president, and then nominated the first female and the first female of color as a running mate and a vice president. Because not only was it the right thing to do, but representation matters. Matters in every community, every ethnicity. Everything is living by the tenets of your community and being accountable to your community. And Biden is very much so a very humble and accountable man that's just turned into a cute little old man with a little bit of an edge when he uses dark bread. And I'm here for it. I absolutely love him as president. I think there's no disparagement towards President Obama. Love President Obama. Which I consider the best president in my lifetime. I gotta say Biden's better. I gotta say, considering what he walked into, he walked into as big of a mess as Obama did, plus a worldwide 100-year pandemic to boot. This dude walked in without a complaint. Have you ever heard him complain? Think about it. To say, have we ever heard Biden go, this job really sucks? You didn't see it the other night. Biden didn't flinch or blame somebody else. He owned that stage, and it was a beautiful thing with a lot of humor, a lot of grace, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek with Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham. But Lindsey Graham even had a belly laugh, like he was loving it. Big old Queen Graham just was eating up the attention, going, But we are up against our second break, and we'll come back with some more Two Queers in the Truck.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And I got to say, after so much in the last 3 years plus, the State of the Union address maybe wasn't a classical State of the Union, that it was campaigny, but I'm thinking also too, he needs to state his case of the State of the Union by talking about the predominant issues of the day, and even clarifying the party stance, the policy stance of the office of the president, and said, the buck stops here on a lot of things, and very much drew out some very important dialogues and announced some initiatives, including building the floating temporary platform and piers in Palestine to bring in humanitarian aid. The commitment to do that and the commitment to follow through is absolutely there. Didn't have to. He's a wildly successful president without that. But again, it's somebody you're seeing the right thing being done by a man that also has to balance out the relationship, the 80-year relationship, and the United States' role in the founding of the State of Israel. To walk that line between protecting an ally that we have in that geographical part of the world, that one wrong move could get Israel piled on by every enemy in that region and many other enemies around the world. They're just waiting for us to abandon them and punish the people of Israel, not the leadership, but the leadership will always have an escape. They'll always have the golden parachute. They'll end up here. Straddling the balance of that and straddling the needs of the Palestinian people, I believe Biden has done a masterful job of making sure this thing didn't escalate any more than it is, and no matter what the Houthis and the Iranians and the ISIS have tried to do, and counterbalance the security needs of the United States, but also the security needs of that region, and also the humanitarian needs, and doing the right thing, to me, is a masterclass in what a president should be. Same way with the vaccine rollout, the same way with the infrastructure bill, the same way with so many things that benefited red and blue states that Republicans are now did not vote for, but are taking absolute credit as this money's rolling out and investments are happening right now in 2024 because of that original legislation in 2021, 2022 is how they're patting themselves on the back, not taking credit for stuff they had nothing to do with. They were actually opposed to it. Campaign, they were opposed to it in 2022, but when they saw the 2023 benefit and the inflation reduction, they got noticeably quiet. And it's a very bizarre point in history, which dovetails into the fifth subject of the Oscar staff. When Kimmel got the social media post from Trump and saw it, and they had a little bit more, they thought they were running behind. They ended up making up time. Kimmel said and told everybody, hey, I want to pop on. I'm going to read this quote and I'm going to say something real quick. They didn't want him to, not because they didn't have time, but they just didn't want him to. Of course, he's brilliant. one-liner after he read that is instant Oscars history of a masterclass in what a good host and phenomenal comedian can do to a chucklefuck like the former guy, and begs the question, when the Oscars staff didn't want Kimmel to do it, I'm thinking, well, are they not, or do they think people are not going to notice it? And why would you not want to address it, especially the way Kimmel did?
Yeah.
It made a classic moment that just brought down the house in laughter. Like, you saw massive worldwide celebrities literally doubled over in laughter. It was a great, cute moment at the very end that absolutely put the little bow on the present of that gift that the film industry does every year with the Oscars. I don't know about you, I don't know about others, I thought it was one of the best Oscar moments I've ever seen. I think it was one of the most funny and, quite frankly, pretty classy. Like, Kimmel didn't take the low road. Like, he didn't curse or anything, but he read Trump and he read him in a one-liner that absolutely is going to be hot. They'll be quoting this 10, 20 years from now. In history books and in film iconology, and what a pop culture moment for Kimmel. I'm glad. I love seeing somebody take what could have been insanely awkward of a mad rantings of a former president and just flipped it. And what a beautiful moment for him. And I hope he gets an Emmy for it. Like, I think he should. Right now, go for award shows like that. He should get an Emmy. He had an Emmy moment. He had his one of his shining moments of his career, honestly. Alabama young Republican county vice president and aide to the re-election of Senator Tom Butler in Alabama, Kyle Luter, is arrested for murder and sexual torture.
Oh
They used
my.
to say his career is probably over. And just like the Ohio creepazoid that came here to get with a 15-year-old child. I don't know the victim's name or age or whatever. Doesn't really matter, but the murder and sexual torture is as bad as it sounds. Like, prominent Republican in Alabama, young, I would say, guessing by his photo in the article that I saw, I'm going to guess it at late 30s, maybe very early 40s. Which is, how did he get from there to there? How did he wake up and choose that level of violence when he has a political career? A political career, being a campaign manager for a powerful U.S. senator in Alabama and the vice president of a Young Republicans chapter. To say he doesn't have, white guy, white privilege, and I'm assuming he has everything going for him. To go from there to being an alleged murder and sexual torture just begs the question, well, who pissed in his Cheerios that day, and how do you go from there? Like, I could almost see why Trump would be bitter, because a lifetime of trust fund money and NBC money. It's so tough to survive in the mean streets of penthouses and Trump universities and things like that. I know.
How does this dude wake up and make this life choice? Whatever this person, and I don't know the gender of this person or age, did. I don't know if it was a spouse. I don't know if it was a lover, whomever. Just whatever they did, they can deserve sexual torture and murder. Like, dude, my dude, if you caught them cheating, if you caught them whatever, walk away. just say no to murder and sexual torture. Like there's a nice broad spectrum between walking away and saying you shouldn't exist in my life, and what he did, what he chose to do. As much as I've gotten mad at people in my life, I absolutely wouldn't pick that. Like, there's a lot of options, kind of like the Ricky Bobby line. If you ain't first, you're last. And then maybe saying, well, there's second, there's third, and all that. There's a whole bunch of life choices that can be made between murder and not murder, and handling it in a constructive way that doesn't wreck your life and doesn't end your career, because undoubtedly, as bad as the Republican Party is, I'm pretty sure this is the end of the political road if he even gets out of prison in any kind of semblance of life. Like, he could very easily get, I don't know, Alabama, I think, does have capital punishment, and usually with 2 felonies, with one of them being murder. This dude could be on death row. He went from the big political career to the big house, facing probably capital punishment or life, and just knowing the redneck judges of Alabama, they don't care who he is. Like, that's probably an unforgivable, not cool offense, especially in Bama, and so just like in Texas, there's a lot of prosecutors in Texas that brag about how many people they've put on death row. It's pretty sure it's going to end badly for this man. But it's just bizarre. It's bizarre how somebody just flips a switch and goes, I want to be a bigot today. I want to be a psychopathic killer. I want to hate trans people and shoot up beer cans. Like, I don't know what possesses people of accomplishment to have such a wild, extremist reaction that you typically don't see with a progressive person or an open-minded person. Not all. We have our governor, former Governor Cuomo's. We have those too, and but not at the level that's on that other side. We've seen this with so many examples, and it's just wild. It's just such a. When I read the article, I had to read it twice to look. Wow, why? And just how extreme it is. But it says a lot about the existence of conservatives, evangelicals, and Republicans, and it's honestly the state of their where they're at, and eating their own and doing just cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff. Look at all the unnecessary, the zombie trad wife junior senator's response, and looks like a staged kitchen with one of the weirdest rants and absolute lies. And you just look at it and go, they just not realize there's going to be a find out portion of this. Like, it's very bizarre. Very strange, but we are at the end of the show. This is the last segment, and we will dance out to some good music, and we'll see you next week. See you, boo. Hey kids, thanks for watching and listening to the show, to Two Queers in a Truck. And hey, whatever happens in life, don't kill anybody. You know, like take it easy. Go for a hike or something. But y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next week. And if you watch the show all again, you'll understand what I said. Thanks, y'all.
Bye, Boo.
Bye, baby.